Back. All right, yo, we're here again. Who would have thought? We're back again. We've got about maybe an hour and 20 minutes or so. Yo, 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 yo. Yo, 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 yo. 1 sec. Yo, 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 yo. All right, where is it? We need to go here. Yo, yo. Oh my god. We're back, Mochi. We're back. Oh. Okay. Okay, I think what I'll do is probably play a couple Total War games, and then, I think that'll be it for now, honestly. A couple of these, and we're good. We are good to go. Yo, 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 yo. Yo, yo. Finish the 40k game? Are you talking about Dawn of War? No. The problem with Dawn of War is that they force you to play campaigns you don't necessarily want to play. Like, at least for the sake of the second game. The first game was like, you play Space Marines, you play Imperial Guard. The second game is you play the Guard and the Eldar, which I like 50% of that sentence. And then the other campaign is more fun. It's the Orcs and Chaos. Like, I'd rather not play the Eldar. If I can avoid playing Eldar at all costs, like, yeah, that's a good time. That's a very good time. But Vermintide? Let me change the game, hang on. For the sake of Vermintide, I mean, I should probably get back into it. Like, just to play the new map, right? Because there was a free DLC that came out for the game, which... it's always enjoyable, to a degree. Play it once, play it twice, don't go back and play it again. Something like that, right? That's the biggest problem with those games. It's like the replayability is just very sloggy. Although they did do cool stuff when they added Twitch integration. So, like, for people to play the game, you know, 4-player co-op campaign, the Twitch integration allows Twitch chat to kind of, like, spawn in more enemies of a specific type, which is cool. That is a cool feature. But it's, like, chances of you actually playing it longer than maybe, like, an hour. I don't know. But I should download the game. Regardless, I should play the new map, and if it's fun, it's fun. If not, it is what it is. If it is fun, it is fun. If not, well, it's not fun. He's just gonna play Wood Elves. You know what? Hang on. Let me actually take a look at Vermintide and see how big the game is. Warhammer Vermintide 2. Warhammer End Times Vermintide, is that the first one? $60 gigabytes to play Vermintide. That's not that bad. Let me try and download it while I'm streaming and finding a game. Bro, we gotta wait 2 minutes. Whatever you do, don't play Wood Elves. Bro is so done with fighting Wood Elves, he's gonna go play Vermintide. I mean, basically. Like, yeah, I've downloaded, you know, bigger things while playing games, but there's only one player on, and he's playing the Wood Elves. I think I'm gonna take a little break. Dude. This is just why I need my actual hobby, so we don't have to find the Wood Elves. Oh, leave me alone. Yeah, Wood Elves are not fun. Wood Elves are like... Well, the problem with the Wood Elves... I mean, most races do make you play to their game. Dwarves are maybe one of them. Wood Elves are like one of them, but incredibly obnoxious. They make you play the skirmish game. They make you play, you know, hide and seek with the fucking invisible archers for half the game. It's full of gimmicks, right? Elves are full of sorcery and trickery and things we don't like. They're cowards. They are not good people. But thankfully, the Wood Elves aren't even that popular. Like, this one guy I keep finding. I won't find him right now, there's no way. Yeah, see. Found a game. Thankfully, the Wood Elves aren't, like, big. I don't blame people for not wanting to play them. They're a little icky. You serious? You serious? I think I spoke too soon. Yeah, the DLC should make things a bit more interesting. I mean, always with this game, DLC, you can't escape them. I can if I leave every game. Nah, the Wood Elves are so boring to fight. Probably one of the most boring factions. Easily to fight. One of the most. There is no satisfaction in fighting them. Okay. It's someone from chat. God bless. And you know what? We've fought so many times, I'm just going to play orcs. I've played dwarves into you repeatedly. I'm down to play orcs. Yeah, we can do full melee. That's fine. If you want to do full melee, we will do full melee. I'm okay with that. Sure thing. What is a faction that is actually satisfying to fight? Khorne, Slaanesh. Crazy take on Slaanesh, but I like fighting Slaanesh. I like melee-centric factions. I think melee is just so much more fun to play in this game. You know, you can have a well-balanced game of, like, melee and shooting and cavalry and artillery and all that stuff, and that's great. But there's something about running in brain dead with, like, a bunch of very strong melee units that's super satisfying. It's a very, very satisfying thing. I don't really play campaign, man. Honestly, again, so here's the big thing. When the DLC comes out, I will have access to my hobby desk. Chances are I'll be hobbying. But then I have like maybe less than a month of downtime before I go back and actually can be hobbying every day. Campaigns do take a lot of time and they're not really my thing, but I might just take a look at, you know, Malachi's early campaign just to see what it's about, because I've played all the other campaigns, you know, the homeless fucking Belagar, the generic like Thorgrim, what's his name off up in God knows where fighting the fucking Dark Elves, Thoric off in Lustria. I don't have a playlist. Not yet. I'm trying to build a playlist and make it public, but right now it's just kind of like playing whatever music I have. Mochi! Mochi! What are you doing? You're crazy. I always have fun fighting Tomb Kings. I feel like Tomb Kings can be annoying for me just because they've got like the monsters and the flying, the shooting that's really good against dwarves. You stop it right now. You look at that creature. I don't know if you can see him. What is this creature? Ow, 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 ow. Ow. Are you crazy, baby Moch? You're crazy. Okay, we get to run it down mid with greenskins. Yo, yo. Run it down mid with the greenies. The greenies, lad. The greenies. Biggest, brutalist orc. Saying that right next to Grimgore? That's a bit... It's a bit heavy.
Ready to bash!
You have Harry the Hammer. I don't think I've ever seen this guy in game. He's cool though. From way back when. It's very laggy. Oh, you know why it's lagging? It shouldn't be lagging anymore. We should be good. Unless it's your connection. No, there we go. Okay, it's because I was downloading Vermintide, that's why. Are they only mushrooms? Wasn't Shrek the original green skin? Is he really? Yeah, they're mushrooms, though. Those are chosen? Are those aspiring champions? I don't think I have anything that beats aspiring champions, to be fair. Well, maybe the Black Orcs, but...
Do it! Please me! Biggest, brutally stalk! Final and tally!
Where are the aspiring champions? Oh, they're here.
Let's fight! Get it done! Time for slaughtering! Hang on! Where's the scrap? The big war! Who's on war? Biggest, brutally stalk! Slaughter! Blast them with smells! Feel the power! This better be good! Choppers out! Attack the kids! Roar! Let's do this! Simon! Run, boys! Use me! Came through! We had a great time! It's me! Roar! Biggest, brutally stalk! Whatever! Let me help you! Here we go! Who can I clobber? This is it! Here we go! This needs blood! Got it? Suppose! Smash the dicks! On Grimgor!
The body slam animation? Yeah. This thing's kind of hard to beat without, like, a shit ton of AP. It's 150 armor because it's just a rock and it walks around and it just shits on everything that can't kill it. Like, any infantry, this thing kind of just beats the fuck up. And it's dead.
Moving fast! Time to get me!
Damn, Harry the Hammer is unbreakable? Jesus, okay. Yeah, God. It's basically Malphite, yeah. Wait, where is he? Oh, there he is. It doesn't want to do anything. It's just looking at him menacingly.
All spell fear!
Okay. Alright. Melee fights can be fun. I feel like you just gotta try and stack buffs, though, right? Like, orc melee buffing is insane. Like, black orcs with 40+ melee attack is, like, almost unbeatable. With Wa and all this other shit going, like, goddamn. It's good. It's very good. Blood Dragon faction? No. I mean, there's a bunch of mods, but you can't play the mods online unless the other person has the same mods. I don't know about multiplayer. I mean, Harry the Hammer, like, it's cool that they brought him in. I mean, he was more of this, like, mascot, right? He's like the guy in the front cover of whatever edition. Ages ago. Do I play orcs or dwarves? I kind of want to run it down again. This map's really bad to run it down on, though. I should really get back into, orcs and goblins. Because the only other army that I loved to death growing up was the orcs and goblins. Dwarves and orcs. ONG. And then a bit of the Empire. Mochi, what are you doing? Mochi. What? Like, you really can't go wrong with the orcs. who's there since day one. Yeah, it's a very old... It's a cool I mean, he's cool. I love all things Warhammer. It's just a matter of, like, I appreciate it or I absolutely love it. And I appreciate that character, so. This build is so bad. Mortal Empires after the DLC update. I'm just probably gonna fuck with multiplayer. Everyone keeps saying, play a campaign, play a campaign. Like, to me, campaign isn't that exciting. Like, I want to see, like, I suppose the mechanics of the early campaign. You know, they're probably gonna release a video stating, like, okay, Malachi does this, and this is that, and this is new. What I want to see the most is just how units work against other units. Like, I want to see what Malachi has to offer in the way of multiplayer. Is he going to have replenish? Is he going to have, like, a weird unit stat boosting thing? Like, I have no clue. Is he going to be able to take, like, a fucking minigun? I'm going to play the living shit out of the Empire multiplayer when the DLC comes out. I feel like the Empire multiplayer stuff, I don't think you're eating as good as the dwarves. I don't think you get anything fun outside of maybe like the Marienburg land ship. And even then the Marienburg... Oh, you get engineers. Yeah, that's kind of cool though with like the Hochland lawn rifles. What are you doing? Stop. Stop barking at the wall. It's okay. Good God. Mochi's living in the moment. You get Elspeth? Yeah, but... Alright, hey, to each his own. If you like it, you like it. To each his own. Mochi, be quiet.
God or conquer! Cannon! For the High King! The clans unite! Thunderers! For the Colours Encore! Iron Drakes! It is a reckoning! Slayers! Preparing bombing run! There's nothing I can't fix! Shears! Kill Orcs! Yes, men!
It's just a meme army. He's not really playing the game. It's just a meme army. No, that's just... No, I'm good. If bro ain't playing the game, that's a quick dodge. Quick leave. That's the beauty of this game. If there's people who are like doing the stupidest shit ever and it's just a hassle to play the game against them, not that it's like not winnable or anything, but you don't sit in brushes as like Chaos Dwarves and you're spamming like blunderbuss units with 2 like mortars. Like, that's like turbo permadodge, bud. It's just a waste of time. Legendary lords in multiplayer is you can't see their true strength. It would be too OP if they had all their abilities. Oh, for sure. For the sake of balancing, you're not allowed to have everything, right? Like, again, Malachi, he's going to have engineering things, but he's also going to have, like, unique things to him, right? Which I have no idea what it'll do. Maybe give weapon strength to a unit, like different types of munitions, right? That aren't typically supposed to be in things, because he's kind of that guy. Maybe something like that? I don't know. Mochi. What is this? I mean, even the dwarves get grudge rakers. They get grudge rakers, and that's fucking cool, because now there's like a mid-range thunderer unit that does a shit ton of damage, I would assume, implying you're getting hit with a bunch of shotguns, right? Almost will feel like blasting charges, but more consistent, more spammable. Blunderbusses are good. They're very good. Whenever you walk up to any sort of powder unit, like your HP is gone, as it should be. I mean, for God's sake, it's a bunch of bullets coming into you. It's not like a crossbow where you can get stuck in the leg and be like, oh, I'm okay. A bullet goes through your head, you're done. To be fair, a crossbow, same thing, but seems a little bit more violent. A straight open map against ogres. Wow, it could not be any worse. It could not be any worse. Exactly. I mean, you won't even have a knee at that point. If you took a shotgun to the leg, you won't have a leg. Come on. Reduce missile block chance. Yeah. Well, I mean, to be fair, if it's a bunch of things coming at you, yeah. No, I know what the meme is, you idiot. They took a fucking arrow to the knee. Yeah, I know the meme. Mochi! All right, we got to get food soon, folks. Maybe about 30 more minutes.
The clans unite! Preparing bombing run! Gyrocopter! No shoddy contraptions here! We demand blood! Vengeance! Slayers!
Did he leave because he turned the stream on and had no shooting in his army whatsoever, and I had 4 gyros? Why do I feel like that was the case? Why do I feel like that's exactly why he left the game? You don't have fucking lead belchers? Well, I gotta leave. Or Noblar trappers? Can't trust the chemical in milk these days. Okay, Mochi. You hungry soon? Yeah. He was very loud today. No. I really like Cathay as a faction, but I can't play any of their legendary lords worth a damn. I always get eaten alive by either Gorst, Shin, Lokir, or Village. I mean, watch a tutorial, man. People have tutorials for campaigns 24/7. There's more tutorials for the campaign than there is for multiplayer, right? Like, there's so many different systems in that campaign, or any campaign for that matter, that, like, there is something you're doing wrong, obviously, because they wouldn't have made something completely unplayable. Look how hairy he is. Look at him from the side. Look at his chest. How much of that is, like, actual body? He's pretty big now. I feel like he's actually grown quite a bit. Is that how big he's gonna be, though? Yeah. Is this the same person? Early Cathay campaign is just send in the dragon, shoot everything that surrounds it. I mean, the AI is so stupid. That's the problem. I don't like campaigns. That's like the biggest thing. It's that you can just cheese them out super hard, and it's like any human being would have, you know, maybe don't send an entire army into a dragon and then just shoot the shit out of the dragon, and it takes like no damage. Everyone's dead, you know? It seems a bit too cheesy. It seems a little bit too cheesy. What's this tail, Mochi? Siege battles. I feel like sieges on paper are more fun than playing them. I feel like if you had 4 people to play with, imagine playing a multiplayer siege. That would be kind of cool. And you basically set up roles to where one person plays the melee, one person plays the shooting, so on and so forth. That could be pretty fun, honestly. I could see that. Maybe I should put those together. Do you guys play this game? Would you want to do, like, multiplayer sieges for fun? Because I feel like that could unironically be very enjoyable compared to, like, spamming fucking, you know, normal land battles. It would be casual. I'm not talking about, like, playing to win. You just play to fuck around. Like, to be fair, this is mostly casual anyways, so...
We have scores to settle! Dal! Killers! Yes! Yes! It is a reckoning! For mountain and home! Tazook! For the Karadan Corps! Slayers! For the ancestor gods! Vengeance! For the ancestors! Kazook! For the Karazhan Corps! Victory will be ours! It is a reckoning!
Vampire Coast and Tabletop? Maybe,
That'll do! Anu! Shah! Miners! Bow through! Fire on the foe! Anat! Kazook! Right?
The thing about Vampire Coast and Tabletop is that
For the ancestor gods! Kazook! Slayers! Dark! Strike out!
I feel like you need a little bit of
Move! Kazook! Right! Kill Urks! The clans unite! For vengeance! Anu! Whoa! Ready axes! Understood, Lord! Plow through! Our fire undimmed! Go! Kazook! Move to attack! Charge! Kazook! Our fire undimmed! Pick your targets well! Hold those dwarven lads! Let the vengeance begin! Kazook! The clans unite! Kazook! Yes, Lord! Move! Kazook! Our fire undimmed! I am the ranking Lord! Attack! Scoff! For the ancestors! For a vengeance! Ill bearers! All! Yes, Lord! Off we go! Withdraw! Kill him! Right! For the Eye King! For the ancestor gods! Kill the oath splitters! Rage fire! Rage fast! Move now! Go! Attack the Urks! Take aim! Dowie attack! For the ancestors! High! Shoot the Wazzicks! Withdraw! Move! The clans unite! Slayers! Kill Urks! Ready to serve! Get on! They have wronged us! Slayers! Go on to attack! Miners! Down! Righto! Be a slayer! Vengeance! Strand them! Axes out, lads! Pick your targets well! Drain them! Shoot! Muster the throng! Slayers! Kazook! God of vengeance! Miners! For the Kara's Anchor! Charge! Slayers! Ready to serve! Axes out! For the ancestor gods! Slayers! For the ancestors! Go!
I can't get to this shooting. There's nothing I have. Nothing I have that touches that shooting, unfortunately.
Shoot the Wazzicks! Anu! Fire!
Oh, not yet, at least, I should say.
Pull out! Slayers! Attack the Orcs! It is a reckoning! Fight! Now! Ah! Yes, yes! Yes! Kill them! Aye!
The shooting will basically carry the game. I can't get to it. This is nothing. This is crap.
Vengeance begin! As you command! Satisfy the grudge! Lord! Drain them! For mountain and hall! Bigger than blood! For the ancestor gods! Go! Slayers! Attack! War of vengeance! Ready to strike! It is a reckoning! Vengeance! Aye, as ye command! Pick your targets well! Will do! Strike out! Nothing can stop them! Ready to strike! Move now! The clans unite! Yes! Castle!
Yeah, this should be a loss. There's nothing I can do to stop his backline.
Vengeance! Get him! Get him!
You know what? Maybe though. Maybe.
For the Karazhan Corps! Strike home! Fire on the foe! Wrench your bearded up! Fire on the foe! Do we attack? Will do! Fire on the foe! Slayers! Range fast! Range fast! It is a reckoning! Strike out! On! Vengeance! Yes! Move now! Slay everything without a beard!
Maybe.
Understood, Lord. Vengeance! Take him down! Take aim! Kazak! Kill the off-splitters! Take them down! Slayers! Move! Tones out! For Grimnir! For the Karazhan Corps! Action! Fight! Take them down! Range fast! Axes out! Rattle! Shoot the wizards! We demand blood! And at them! Anad! Scarf! For the High King! Slayers! Move now! Kill!
Nice, I got him. I actually thought that'd be so bad. When all the fucking Noblars showed up and they like flung boogers at me because it's all they do. Like, looked a little bit bad, but no. Okay. Too much shooting left. All of it's stock. Kind of goofy, but like ogres are. So the problem with some of these games, like matchup specific, they're very cheesy. It's like, why wouldn't I spam Slayers? Why wouldn't I spam blasting charges? Why wouldn't I spam Rangers? Right? Every other thing in this army is completely irrelevant. What would be the point of using it? Cannons are good. Brims are good. Some things just work way better than others, so there's no point in playing anything else, unfortunately. It is the state of the game. Yeah, so for the Vampire Coast, I would assume the only reason they'd ever get some time is because of this game, but like, even then I'm sure CA knows how much it's being played. I think the coast is cool, but I don't think you'd get an army anytime soon. Realistically. Because they would basically have to make the Vampire Coast from scratch. You know, you could still do like the weird old kit bashing of certain units, but it really isn't that popular, you know? Having to make your whole army from nothing, basically. Let alone would GW want you to do that? Or would they try and sell you, you know, tons of different kits and be like, buy them? Which people would, but it costs them a lot of money, and it's how much money they can make back in return, you know? Finally got home. Glad to catch you streaming, yes, sir. The charm of old armies sometimes is that, I swear to God, I fought this guy yesterday and he did some weird shit. What was it? The charm of old armies came through in like kind of kit bashing and creating them from scratch. Because the Vampire Coast at one point was actually offered as a legitimate kit in a Games Workshop store. Like the zombie deckhand mobs in this game that you get, where a thing, I think in like maybe early 2000s, it was a bag, and in the bag it came with 2 separate kits to make them. It wasn't really an official thing. It was more of like would you like to make zombie pirates? Here you go. Here's a bunch of different things that you can make zombie pirates with. Outside of that, and maybe a few miniatures, you've got nothing. Zero real official support. And most armies, again, it's like, how do you really make them a thing? We've already been supporting, you know, dwarves, elves, humans, blah, 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 so on and so forth. We've got so many armies. And do we just stop making new things for things that are popular? Or do we just create something new and spend some money? There was some Forge World stuff? For the Vampire Coast? Was there really? Talking about, like, the creatures? I don't think they had anything Forge World. I think there was a book that had the Necrofex Colossus as a unit you could play, but I don't think there was ever an official Forge World, like, release. Oh, you're talking about the Morngul. The Morngulls? Yeah. I think... Yeah, okay, sure. The Morngul. Okay. I think that was more of like a vampire count thing that was thrown into the undead. Like the Vampire Coast. Because I believe the Morngulls were supposed to be like... kind of like the Wendigo story. Something like that in the wild. I don't think so. I don't think they're drowned. I think it was... there is lore to the Morngulls. I do believe it is in part to, like, Wendigo lore. Like, they did something out in the wild and, you know, fucking something happened and they just became these big, shambling, fucking gaunt creatures that preyed on other people. Yeah, I don't think they're drowned. I don't think they have anything to do with Vampire Coast, personally, but maybe it was a unit they wanted to fill the roster with. Yeah, literally, it was weird Wendigo shit. Yeah, something like that. Either way. Well, that's what I was saying. I'm like, they put them in the Coast roster. Maybe just to fill it out. Maybe that's why. Yes, I'm preparing for the White Lions. I don't have a single Hammerer unit. I kind of want one. Maybe I just go one Slayer, one Hammerer. Let's just roll with it, sure. Oh, the banner? I always forget the fucking banner. Yeah, I do. I've only ever seen them in Calgary. They're everywhere. Every province has them, I'm sure. There used to be 3 of them locally. There used to be one at a mall called Fairview, Scarborough Town Center, and then Yonge Street. And all of them are gone except the one at Yonge Street, which is the one I go to. It'll be its own unit. I don't think the Spirit of Grungni is going to be anything but a unit. It's just going to be an ROR, you know, airship, right? It's the named airship. Yeah. I mean, you just Google it, right? It's like Warhammer store in Toronto. The Fire Slayers to me are a failure because this hobby is all about how good something looks in terms of you wanting to buy it. And the Fire Slayers just suck. They visually kind of suck. They do. I personally don't like them. Aesthetically, they're not my thing. Lore is fine. The lore is usually okay. But I think the biggest thing is that you want an army to look good on the tabletop, and they just don't do anything for me personally. The Warband is amazing. The Warband's amazing. The Magma Droths are awesome. I think that's flavorful as fuck. But I think that's where it kind of ends.
Master of Runecraft and this Thoric Ironbrow. Go, Will of Iron. Hurry. Move. Nothing can stop us. Come on. Pursuit.
You know what? I don't think I care to suicide these yet. It's also lagging. No, it's a legitimate ROR. It'll be a legitimate thing. Well, because the Warband is just good-looking sculpts. They're more lively. There's more going on. They have more personality. And then the Magma Droths are completely their own thing. It was an old concept, brought anew, and I love it. I think it's great. Dwarves harnessing the power of, like, creatures they've kind of live with and shit. You know, oh my god, the father of all these creatures, they headbutted Grimnir and Grimnir this and that, and now we use them for whatever, right? Like, it's cool. The children of the god beast. Yeah, I do like the charcoal skin for the Fire Slayers, where you make them all, like, dark, and then you give them, kind of like lava effects. That should look good. Or you can make them, like, you know, regular skin tone, for the dwarves, and then give them, like, ash or something like that. I'm not sure. There's a lot of cool shit you could do. It's confirmed the spirit is an ability. The spirit of Grungni is an ability? What does that even mean? Oh, it's this guy again playing ogres? Nah. Oh, ogres? Not again, bruv. Let me, finish downloading Vermintide, actually. Kind of down to fuck with Vermintide for like 20 minutes. Or talk about the new releases from GW, that too, because there was a big article that came out today showing everything that's coming out for the dwarves, the greenskins, and the Tomb Kings. It's very good. It's a... Ooh, money! Money! Yeah, I'll show it in a sec. Okay, let's do the article. Sure. Let's hop over to... Okay. So, to nobody's surprise, the old world is getting more stuff. There is one thing in the article, I skimmed it, and I'm like, are they really doing that? That's smart that they do that, but it kind of pisses me off. But it is smart. So the article, Warhammer community. I can't wait to see the dwarves. I want to see the dwarves. Like, if we're going to be getting this much shit for all the other races, like, give me the dwarves. Okay, so I'm not very current on when previews come out, but apparently it's Sunday. Sunday previews, that's when they usually do stuff. I'm not aware. I will be more aware now that there's cool shit coming out that I want to buy. The Dark Oath are coming out. It's like the new, like, Marauders, the Chaos Worshippers, right? The Wild Men, whatever. They look good. I won't be buying them, but they look cool. Chaos followers, right? New Marauders, yeah. I mean, all of this is to basically take you out of fantasy and give you Age of Sigmar, right? Like, having new Marauder units and shafting the old sculpts back to fantasy, perfect. These look great. I don't see a problem with them. I won't be buying them. They're not my thing. But I think for people who like Chaos and like the Marauders and the human side of, Chaos worshipping and all that crap, because they are just people who've turned to the dark gods, because, where's Sigmar, right? You didn't listen, but these guys did. That's cool. Yeah, that's cool. Oh, not the old world. Anyways, so cool. And now there's like the old world stuff. So wasn't this released initially? How did this not get released immediately? I've seen people paint it. Anyways, she's coming out. Kingdom Lord on Royal Pegasus. I thought this was part of a different kit. Apparently it's not, so this is coming out. You're going to get your Men-at-Arms. Cool. You're going to get your Peasant Bowman. Cool. You're going to get a transfer sheet for Bretonia. Imagine the Dwarven transfer sheet. If they ever decide to make it, which I don't think they will, because there's no place to put the fucking transfers, that'd be cool. But you're going to get a transfer sheet. Casket of Souls, I mean, classic sculpt, Bone Giant, with, I believe, an unreleased head. So what's cool about this one is that if you purchased this mini ages ago, what do you mean ugly? These are classic, bro, classic. It came with this head, I think, and now there's like a new one that comes with a helmeted head that was unreleased. That's cool. The old Orc Shamans. I'm not really a fan of these. I mean, bro's got like the granny mouth, but these were a little bit derpy. I thought these were fucking cool. So what these are is, I think, was it 5th edition or 6th edition? I forgot what it was, but these were only released one time. It's the monopose Orc Boy, the Orc Arrow Boys, so the archers, and then the monopose dual-wielding Orc Boys. These were only in one of the long, old starter sets. They were never sold again. And I kind of like them for their simplicity. It's cool to really, like, be able to buy this shit as a kit. Because the big thing is that they sell you the multi-part plastic boys, which is cool, but then you'll also be able to buy these separate. If you don't want to build them, it's like one piece. And they look good. They look exactly like the multi-part stuff. It's the same sculptor. So, like, he did all of them at the same time, I would assume. The old Black Orcs are coming back. That's fucking awesome. Black Orcs were cool. They got thrown out of Age of Sigmar, and now you have the Ardboy update, which look amazing. But these are classic. I used to play Fantasy. I used to run the Immortals every game when I played Orcs and Goblins, just because Grimgor was so cool, and having his own retinue was cool as well. It doesn't necessarily say how many you get. Maybe you just buy this box, you get this many. I don't know. Orc Boar Boys and Boar Chariots. These are kind of weird, because, like, the Boar Boys are perfect. The fact that these were gone for so long is a crime, considering how good they look. The sculpts are amazing. These are a bit dated, at least in terms of, like, the piggies. If you make this, you take the pigs and you put the pigs on the chariots. I don't want to see no, Cartoon Network little piggies running around, at least for me. So that's cool. You get a pair of Orc Boar Chariots. A pair of them. They used to sell like one per box. Now you get two of them. You're going to pay a little bit more, but that's cool, I guess. The Goblin Shaman's coming back. This used to be a blister. A little clam pack, one-off $20 for this guy, probably. Goblin mobs, cool. The fact that you can purchase everything individually is awesome. At one point, I was praying that the goblins would get an updated sculpt, because they are goblins, and goblins are cool. But they never did. So you got some, old goblins coming back. And the biggest thing that I saw, I was like, what the fuck? Are we really bringing these back? We're bringing back the original night goblins. The plastics, not the metals, because even before this, they were older. There was older kit. So they're bringing back the, I think it's like early 2000s night goblins, or like 1996 goblins. So that's cool. And the only reason these are coming back is because they can't take the ones from Age of Sigmar and put them into fantasy, because like Age of Sigmar has their own faction at this point, right? So what do you do with that? You give them the older minis. For me personally, if I was to do this, I'd still use the Age of Sigmar ones because they came from fantasy to begin with. Metals were not that great. These ones are cooler. The metal ones were a little dinky. I think it was like late 90s or late 80s, something like that. The fanatics were a little bit derpy. The chain was like 4 links of chain in a ball or something. And then you get the Goblin Wolf Riders, which come in 50. Or sorry, not 50, 15. Like, for God's sake, with the Night Goblins give you 40. So the one thing I've noticed about the old world is that they're selling so much to you. The old boxes would give you 20 per box, and now they're selling 40 per box. Double the amount of minis, double the price. Like, do you need that many? I haven't played the old world in a while, or not even at all since fantasy, but 40 night goblins in a box that's a lot. It's a lot of minis to paint, and it's a lot of shit to build, but it's cool. There's no problem with getting more stuff. I don't buy GW stuff. I mainly play Malifaux. You should check Zip. He's a pirate goblin. Malifaux. Do they ever do plastic Malifaux minis? Every time I hear about Malifaux, it's like metal. But I think for the most part, when it comes to this stuff, it's good. I haven't seen squigs. Are squigs even in the book? Only plastic now? I'd hope so. Because when I would see Malifaux in like gaming stores way back when I'd play Warhammer, it was always the weird little bases with like the big rims, and everything was metal. To be honest, these are so ugly. No, you don't get it. He's new. Get him. He's new. Listen, if you weren't born with the dinosaurs roaming the earth, you just don't understand the majesty of these minis. You don't understand. Like, some of them, okay, I will agree that like the wolves are a little dinky. The goblins look like goblins. Like, yeah, they're not my favorite. Even these aren't really my favorite, but these are amazing. These haven't aged a day in their life. These haven't aged a day in their life. These are just monopose, so they look like they've aged, but like the sculpts are good. These are a little bit icky. I mean, it's classic fantasy though. This shit's been around for ages. All this game is selling you nostalgia. If you want the new updated sculpts with like, the proper proportions and oh my god, is this a clan rat or a fucking rat clan? Like, Age of Sigmar has you covered. But these are for the old people. And I love it because I grew up with this shit. I'm only 27, but this was my childhood, right? A lot of this stuff I remember so vividly, playing a bunch of them, collecting a bunch of them. The wolves kind of look like old Warwick splash arts. Do they really? I mean, the aesthetic was different, right? The aesthetic per edition, like sometimes they'd come out with, forgot what edition these came out in, but a lot of the miniatures around this time had very big hands, big feet, big heads. Their bodies were dinky. They were very small. And they really don't look that good. But it is still a subjective thing, Like, would I like these or the... one sec. Would I like those or... Like, if we're being honest here, right? You've got these Night Goblins, I believe late 90s. And then you got these Night Goblins, right? Like, come on. For me personally, this is leagues better. You know, but some people who are a little older, they're like, oh, back in my day, my goblins had big hands. And if goblins have big hands, they got big hearts. I love these little dudes. And it's an aesthetic choice. And I think that's the big thing. If you don't like the aesthetic of this, that's fine. Who cares? Don't buy them. You know, buy these, right? Same thing with this stuff. I mean, we did get new updated Wolf Riders for like Age of Sigmar for some reason in the Gloomspite Gits of all things, which don't really match the aesthetic in my opinion, but where is it? Age of Sigmar, Destruction, Gloomspite Gits. These guys, the Snarlfang Riders, like, this is the updated version. Okay, you talk about, oh my god, it looks like Warwick's old splash art. I mean, these came out a long time ago compared to what you have now. Like, it's pretty impressive what they were able to do. Again, it's more of a nostalgic thing, right? You look at this and this can take you back to a great time. For me, it does. This is me as a kid. I saw this stuff in the stores. I'm like, damn. But, you know, there is a point where you say, yeah, the new stuff's a bit better. Visually. Yeah, sure. I agree. Tomb Kings are cool. The orc ones bother me. The orc ones? You talking about the goblins or the orcs? Because, I mean, to me, these are just orc boys. You know, the poses are a little bit static, yeah. But they're all monopose, so they're going to be static. The goblins? Yeah. Fair. That's fair. That is. Even me, I don't really like the look of these, but they still do bring me back. And again, the whole point of this game is to bring you back. Bring you back to your childhood. Hey, guess what, adults? Remember when you were a kid and you saw these things and you loved them and you had them? It's like, yeah, well, here you go again. Gloomspite are going to regroup all goblins. But there is still subcultures. I guess you're right, eh? The subcultures of, like, the Gloomspite. Because you've got the generic goblins, you've got the Spider Fang goblins. I mean, the coolest shit GW ever did with goblins was this. The squigs. Absolutely. This is the best. You know, you can't go wrong with classic goblins. Very generic, you know, runty little greenskins that don't wear fucking hoods. They're just, like, running around with the boys, trying to, like, poke things. You can't go wrong with them, but at the same time, like, these are a little bit cooler. Are ugly models justified if it fits the lore? Yeah. I mean, nobody looks at, like, well, what do you mean ugly? Like, because the Jabberslith is ugly as fuck. But it's supposed to be that way, and it looks amazing. But it is ugly as hell. It doesn't, it's so ugly it won't even display a picture of it. That's how ugly it is. I hate the squig eating a goblin. Yeah, for some reason the Jabberslith doesn't want to show. Well, I mean, there's a difference between, I mean, in lore, goblins are ugly little wretched creatures, right? But you need to still make them aesthetically appealing, but still be ugly, you know? Like, this is, even the Skaven. You look at the Skaven and they look wretched, they're horrible. And the miniatures look great, but they're supposed to be disgusting. Because, I mean, at the end of the day, you are trying to sell minis. That's the biggest thing. So, like, if something is described in a book as whatever, and then the miniature doesn't really represent that, I mean, that would be a problem. But at the same time, I think for the most part, all of this stuff just works. It does. You know? You can read about the night goblins and their little mischievous fucking mushroom cultivating crazy, moon worshipping fucking freaks. And yeah, I kind of get that vibe. I don't really think of it. It's good. A reworked Ragnarok will rock everything. The Ragnarok spiders, I feel like, are very slept on. I think people just don't like that side of, like, the goblins. It seems to me like the spider stuff is very unpopular. It's like, why even bother including them when I can have squigs? But, goblins, either way, if you like the goblins, you'll probably get some. Throg the Troll King in Age of Sigmar. I mean, they kind of made one, but it's not him. I always wanted to buy one statue. Of what? What? A Warhammer statue? Skaven and goblins have to be disgusting, but, well, they have to look appealing, right? Like, you can make a hyper-realistic goblin with warts and fucking nasty, rotten teeth, but, like, that doesn't really translate well to minis. You can only have so much detail in something, and, it looks good. It could also be, paint them differently. If you want something to look even more depressing, just paint, do grim, dark goblins, You can make something that is sculpted like this look pretty grim and gnarly and, lifeless. Fantasy. Sad the trolls don't look anymore like that. What, Trog? Like Throg the Troll King? Where he's all mutated with chaos stuff. He's got like a mouth in his belly and all that crap. Well, because the trolls now aren't really involved with chaos from what I've seen. The trolls are more of like your typical, I live under a bridge, I smack you, and I walk around and smack things with other things that smack things. The chaos trolls, I don't think even exist in Age of Sigmar, at least from a miniature standpoint. I don't think I've seen anything Chaos Troll related, actually, come to think of it. Beasts of Chaos don't count. They're not even a race anymore. Chaos. Let's see. Trolls. We have the Ogroid Therodons. I don't think you're getting trolls. Age of Sigmar is its separate game. It's like, it was the rebirth of fantasy. It's the sequel trilogy of Star Wars, but only in concept, I guess you could say. It's just what happened after, so on and so forth. Ogroid reworked Minotaur. I mean, yeah, there's no trolls here. I wonder if they'll go back and re-release, because here's the thing. I firmly believe when the Empire gets re-released for Fantasy or the Old World, when Nurgle gets re-released for the Old World, when all of these things come back, you will get your Forge World minis again. I think they'll give you the Marienburg Land... well, maybe not, because if it doesn't fit the timeline. I mean, Bile Trolls, if that's what they were called for the Nurgle stuff, maybe. The big, like, Nurgle frogs. Are there vampire lords like Vlad or Manfred? Nah, it's more of like a classic thing, right? This is supposed to be the continuation. I mean, those guys are... Manfred is still around. Manfred's still kicking. Neferata, I believe, is still kicking as well. Some characters did make it to Age of Sigmar. Vlad won't get anything for the Old World. I don't know what they're doing with those yet, honestly. Because the vampire counts, most likely will be out next year. Next year or the year after. I think this year they want to go hard with like releasing all the armies they said they would. And then after that, you know, in the coming years, just flesh everything out. I think that's the biggest thing they're going to do. And even then, do we even have time to re-release all the stuff they wanted to in this year? I think there's like, what, 6 more armies they want to bring back before they start doing things they haven't talked about? Yeah, this is AOS. Well, I mean, all this stuff should sell. Fantasy, I mean, you really bring out Britonia and the Tomb Kings, orcs and goblins, dwarves, you know. I'm surprised the Britonians and the Tomb Kings sold as much as they did, just because of personal taste, you know. But people did want them, and they sold. People got them. Is it any good like fantasy? Well, it's the continuation of fantasy, right? Like the world was kind of taken apart, and the gods were very much alive and kind of doing their own things in their own realms, and all this shit happened, and now everyone's back into the fray fighting for fucking land and whatnot and killing for their gods. I think, for the most part, like, I haven't read that much Age of Sigmar lore. It's just not really a universe I take interest in. You still have things from the old world that made it through in just new incarnations, right? Like, different aspects of a race are now more so pushed, or units are, like, reimagined, right? I hope the old world gets turned into a movie. Good luck. Good luck. Needs more time for the lore. I mean, there's so many books now and lore things going on with Age of Sigmar. Like, for me, I read initially the stuff that had come out first, and then maybe a bit after that with, like, the Caradron book or the Fireslayer book, stuff like that. Maybe a bit of the Gotrek stuff, like a Realm Slayer. What were they called? Ghoul Slayer, so on and so forth. You know, those are more like self-contained things that don't really tell you about, oh my god, this is this, the universe is this way and whatnot. But people love Age of Sigmar. Age of Sigmar is not a failure. Age of Sigmar is a massive success. It is, I'm sure, more successful than fantasy ever was. And, you know, it really begs the question, what if we just redid fantasy like Age of Sigmar in terms of, you know, refreshing ranges and making the game a little bit less nuanced, but not killing it completely. Just making it more, you know, approachable as a game. Because, of course, you know, all the fantasy guys are like, my game, I love fantasy, I love rotating blocks of units and this and that. Tomb Kings have been hyped for a while. Tomb Kings, it was a cool concept that I think a lot of people just easily understood. It's like undead Egyptian stuff with crazy monsters and lords and, you know, all this fucked up magic and whatnot, necromancy. And it's aesthetically, it's very easy to latch onto because it's something we know. It's literally just Egypt. It's like fantasy Egypt. People love that. Personally, for me, I don't care for it, but, you know, if you love it and you want it, there it is. It's awesome. It's just dumb at times. I need to do more. I've been trying to, like, open up to more universes. Like, even 40K hasn't really been my thing for a while. It's mainly just fantasy. But I really want to go through and start watching more videos and reading more Age of Sigmar stuff and 40K stuff, just because I've kind of neglected it. You know, I've been so bent on fantasy for the longest time that I haven't really given anything else too big of a chance. Because if people like it, it's certainly all right, you know? 40K is easy to get into. Everyone loves 40K. Even I grew up with 40K, so. What do you think of all the new Dwarf DLC stuff? What is that shit going by on my screen? Oh, it types now. What the fuck? the new stuff for the dwarves in the DLC, I mean, it's good. It's very good. I don't think... The only thing I wish we had gotten was maybe a generic engineer lord or something. Like, realistically, Malachi is more fun than someone like Grim Burlickson, right? Grim Burlickson is, by the rules, do this, right? Like, he's a very good engineer, obviously, his father being one of the more prominent ones. But Malachi is more fun. Malachi gives you all of these crazy contraptions and things that the dwarves typically don't see, let alone want to partake in, because God knows if Malachi makes it, it's going to fucking keep people alive. But it's that bit of flavor that Malachi brings that I think is so enjoyable. Because the dwarves, as a whole, they have a lot of heart and character, but they don't have something extravagant. They don't push it to, like, the Necrolith Bone Dragon. They don't push it to, like, the Necrosphinx or any of these crazy creatures and whatnot. You know, and the dwarves are not going to go out and tame a bunch of monsters, but their version of that is engineering. It's the craft of creating something, you know, imbuing it with rune magic, the Engineers Guild going crazy over something. And what Malachi does is he said, well, since I'm already expelled and I'm never going to be redeemed until I die, yeah, I've made the airships. I've made the Goblin Hewer. I've done all this crazy shit that typical dwarves don't want to fuck with. And that's what makes it so exciting. So the DLC stuff is excellent. I just, you know, still wish maybe we got a bit of Bugman or this and that. But Malachi brings flavor to an already flavorful army, but stagnant army. You know? Again, Thunder Barges, Goblin Hewers. You get the Doom Seekers, which are like Kratos-looking fucking dwarves running around with chains on their wrists, whipping around axes, right? Like a big anti-infantry unit. You're getting Garagrim, Ungrim's son, you know, a bit more flavor, right? Slayers were always a shit ton of flavor in the dwarven lists just because they were so different. Typical dwarves are like heavy armor, big shields, big guns, big axes, big war machines, sit in giant formations, don't move, pepper the enemy, repeat, right? They don't offer things in the way of like nuance or new ideas that kind of expand how they play or how they live. All that stuff is very niche. It's just looked down upon. They don't like progression or, you know, kind of expanding their horizons. It's like, if it works, it works, fuck the rest. And if it's going to work in the future, well, let's test it for 30 years, 50 years, whatever it may be. So it's good. It's amazing. I love the stuff they brought out. And it's all out of like one book, outside of like the Thunder Barge. It's all Storm of Chaos. Hope we get a campaign where we can make a generic lord or hero take the Slayer Oath. That'd be kind of fucked up, no? I mean, the DLC is giving us Demon Slayers, Dragon Slayers, Garagrim Iron Fist, Malachi McCason, Pirate Slayers, the Thunder Barge, the Goblin Hewer, Doom Seekers, and Grudge Raker Thunderers, which are like shotguns. A lot of flavorful units, things that you typically wouldn't see in a normal dwarf list, right? Again, generic war machines, generic infantry, Lord on shield bearers walking around. Although that would be really fucking cool. Why don't we have shield bearers? Or like Oathstone, or any of that stuff. Why don't we have that? Why can't I put a generic Lord on shield bearers? It's in a mod. I fucking played the mod. But we can't make it a mount option for Lords? Like, that'd be cool. Mountain Blade game kind of in Warhammer. I think I've seen a bit of that game. In comes Grimgor through the dwarf wall like the Kool-Aid Man. Yeah, I hope not. We get an updated Grombrindle for the old world. I mean, that's cool, I guess. He just kind of looks... In fantasy, he kind of just looked the same. Age of Sigmar, obviously. He's just a bunch of different people, at least in the stories, but it'd be cool to get it. I mean, that would be cool, like a plastic Grombrindle. There's an Oath Stone as a tech upgrade. But do you physically see it on your mini? Because the thing with Oath Stones is that they're typically brought to battle, planted down, and then, who's ever in charge, right? He's carved his oath into it, and then he sits there. By my oath, I will do this, do this, do this. The Oath Stones, I don't think are really carried around. I could be wrong, but carried around in the sense like a mount. The Shield Bearer's different story, but like, I think what would be cool is, so the only person that has anything to do with an Oath Stone is Belagar. And at least in the game. Oath Stone is an ability, and it gives you melee defense and expert charge defense. Right? Like, by my oath, blah, blah, blah. You're not moving. We're sitting here. We are as defiant as ever. I think it'd be cool if it was more of like, what if you used it and you became immobile, but everyone around you kind of had that buff and it was kind of thematic, like the Oath Stone came up from under the ground and he's sitting on top of it chanting and yelling different things. That'd be cool. More thematic stuff, gameplay-wise, that might not work in multiplayer too good, but it'd be fun. Because the thing about gaming versus miniatures, at least in a real-time setting, is that you need things to move. You need to be able to do stuff in the video game versus like tabletop where you can have these immobile pieces, I suppose, because the map is so small and, it's turn-based and whatnot. Because even the Anvil of Doom in miniature form is immobile. You place it down, it doesn't move. It's an AoE unit, it buffs up shit around it, but it will never move. In Total War, it's a mount. You keep it a little bit more limber, it kind of goes around, does its thing. Because if you were to take an Anvil of Doom and it was like in tabletop, in then Total War, I mean, you're camping the fuck out of that thing. You keep the Anvil, you're sitting around it, you're making a giant, like, turtle formation, and that's cool, that's thematic. But for the sake of gameplay, it's a little bit different. I don't remember, honestly, but I don't think the dwarves have any mounts. Dwarves typically will never have mounts. The mounts are like, again, shield bearers. Like a gyrocopter is considered a mount. The Throne of Power, is that a mount? I mean, Thorgrim's always on it. GW and the Tolkien Estate are the two most loved and hated studios. Yeah. I mean, everyone says they hate it, and then they consume it. Like, I fucking hate Games Workshop. You guys, your business practices are so satanic. How you gonna write in this and that? What the fuck, brother? I'm out of this shit hobby. Fuck you. And then 3 months later, oh my God, is that the fucking Tomb Kings? I played them when I was 8. I'm buying $50. I love GW. They brought back the Tomb Kings. It's like, yeah. Thorgrim, Malachi, and Thoric as mounts? I don't think you're able to even mount the Thunder Barge. That's exactly how it works. I mean, I'm a GW fanboy. I grew up with GW. I love the minis. I love the lore. I love the vibe. Like, the vibe of the stores, I should say. Businesses have their ways. They've got their practices. For me, I get to relive my childhood, something that brought me immense joy to see this shit back in stores, right? Like, I'm not sitting out here, complaining about everything. The money, realistically, is the biggest problem with the hobby, right? If it was cheaper, everyone would be, oh my God, I can buy everything. But, I guess they do have their ways of, like, squatting armies, right? Recently, they got rid of the Beastmen in Age of Sigmar. And I think they were just selling a new book last year with a new mini. Well, it's because, you know why it was such a big thing? It's because fantasy is so awesome, it just wasn't as accessible. So now when you have a game that brings a universe that's so amazing to life, and brings it to a new generation who can appreciate it, like, yeah, like you had money and they made money and now they're making even more money. New book with new Vanguard box. Yeah. I mean, I'm not really a big Beastmen fan, to be honest. I could care less. They could all die, and I'd just be like, praise the gods. But for the people who do like them, and for the sake of like the universe itself, they do belong. There is a place for them. I just don't care about the Beastmen, personally. But I can feel for the people who lost their armies. Because if I lost the dwarves, I'd fucking lose my shit. You know, like, oh, all the dwarves are now gone out of every setting. Too bad. They're just, like, not really good for people these days. You know, whatever. I'd be fucking pissed. I'd be mad. Modern game culture clutched it. Well, because it's, like, new things, right? Like, Warhammer Total War looks great. Sounds great. Plays great. Everything about it is quality. It feels like a game that had money put into it. And love. For the most part, Total War feels like it's cared for by people who like Warhammer. You know, of course they're working with GW to get like the thumbs up on, is this good? Is this good? Is that good? But the game itself feels very well done. The people they got to voice act the characters, I think was the biggest thing. Because when it comes to a universe that's typically from reading, right? What has Warhammer ever been except in a book, in a rule book, in an article, in a magazine? It's always been reading. And of course you get the physical representation of a character. You know, you read like, I don't know, Gotrek and Felix, and you see them on the front cover. It's like, wow, that's cool. That's what they look like. Or you get the miniature and it's like, wow, that's cool. That's what they look like. But what gaming does is it takes it beyond that and it gives them kind of like a liveliness, right? Like these things are running around, breathing. They've got their animations. This is how they look like when they run. This is what they sound like. That's the biggest thing, because people love Warhammer for how much character it has, how much personality. And when you give them even more of it, because now you have a game showcasing what they're like, you know, day to day, whatever, what they sound like, what they look like when they hit shit, it does really well, you know? And it kind of defines that character. Like, can you think Thorgrim sounds like anything else outside of what he sounds like in Total War? Because I can't. What about Ungrim? What about Grimgor? It basically brings this character to life. From the pages to the miniatures to now voice acting, right? So it's great, you know, and I think a lot of people also agree that whatever is in Total War is like definitive, this is what they sound like. Although, of course, there are maybe different instances in audiobooks where it's read by a voice actor and maybe that's your version of it versus like the game's version. But I think for the most part with Warhammer Fantasy and Total War, that's just it. That's what they are. Papa Pig is Thorgrim. Yeah, it was Richard Ridings. Richard Ridings is the voice of Thorgrim. And as crazy as it sounds, I'd love to talk to the guy and have him sign a print of like Thorgrim. That would be so cool. Or even Ungrim, right? Like, it's nerdy shit like that that keeps me going at, you know, the darkest of times, but it's cool. The voice acting is on point. It's like the COD of anime. The COD of anime? What does that even mean? What? I'm bored of fantasy lately. I'm never bored of this shit. I love this stuff. I could talk about this shit all day. It's my childhood. When you've got something that goes from nothing, like when you were a wee little, you know, baby shitting all over the place and like your mom was yelling at you and nothing mattered. There was no taxes to be paid. And like, this is what you had. And then you grew up and it's still there. Maybe he means Call of Duty. What about it? Yeah, exactly. It's like, you can read about wherever, I don't know, two characters interacting, like, oh, Thorgrim talks to, Karl Franz in the books and blah, 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 whatever it may be. But then in a trailer, they're conversing. It's like, holy shit, how long has this been? As someone, like, this shit, Warhammer Fantasy is pretty old, man. For anyone who's like an older person and they're like, video games fucking suck. Back in my day, I hit a tree with a log, and the log, like, made a certain sound, and that's how we played. We communicated. That was our way of walkie-talkies. And then, you play Warhammer at that time, you see the minis, again, whatever. Like, nobody's saying Total War is an L. I mean, when it comes to L's in Total War, it's typically the pricing, I suppose, for content. That's usually what people complain about, I believe, for the most part. But now they're splitting up the DLCs into like 3 separate purchases. So if you want the dwarves, you pay $10. You want the Nurgle, you pay $10. You want the Empire, you pay $10. Whatever it is, I think it's even less. So they did fix it, right? And you want to make the people happy. You don't want to have everyone be miserable at like the pricing or, what you get for your pay. They're blaming it on inflation. Well, honestly, to be fair, I actually do think purchasing DLC with content you don't care for is pretty shit. That's terrible. It's like, why do I want to spend money on something I'm never going to care about? You'd rather buy things that have some sort of, interest that you just like it, right? Like, why do I care about buying Nurgle if I like the dwarves only? Or if I like the dwarves in the Empire, I'll buy their DLC and I'll forget about Nurgle. You just pay for things you don't care about. It's like a collector's edition. We talked about that earlier. When you buy like a digital collector's edition, God knows why you'd buy that, but you do. And they give you the digital fucking audio for the game, like the music and whatnot, or they give you the digital art book. Like, digital art book. What a load of shit. Crap. Making 3 ways DLC, pay triple to play your main. Exactly, stupid. That's dumb. Especially for something like Warhammer that's very individualized, I guess you could say. Because, when you look at 40K, it's not like you have to buy everything to play everything. Or buy one thing to play, what you want. And maybe what you don't want, right? Like, if you like Space Marines, you go buy the Space Marines. If you like fucking the Imperial Guard, you go buy the Imperial Guard. It's not like you're being forced to pay for more than what you want. Digital collector's editions were NFTs before NFTs became a thing. Yeah. You pay for what you want. If you don't want it, why are you buying it? Because you could still put that money into something you like and forget about the other shit. Right? I don't like the Chaos faction, and it always has to be the best stuff to go for the Chaos factions. What? I don't like the Chaos faction, and it always has to have the best stuff go to Chaos factions. What are you talking about? Minis? There will be pre-orders, but after they show off everything, not as soon as the trailer drops before. Yeah, probably. Oh, the DLCs always give the best stuff for Chaos. Do they really? Elves are kind of cool. I don't think, well, I mean, this is all subjective. I don't think I've ever seen a Chaos thing. I mean, it's subjective. There's no point in talking about that. It's completely subjective. It's like, oh, the Chaos get all the cool stuff. And I'm like, when? Like, I think the Chaos initially were DLC for Total War. They were a free LC for purchasing the game. Are you talking about maybe like concepts, like ideas for units? They got the changeling. Oh, well, where else would the changeling go? Isn't it just demons? Isn't he a Zinch unit? Do I have the changeling dwarf? Want more Norska? Give us a Norskan rework. The thing about that is how many people care about Norska? How many people want a Norskan rework? Like, let's be honest. Who's sitting here frothing at their mouths like, please, Norska rework? You know, some people are really passionate and love Norska and love Wulfric and all the mammoths and whatnot. But, like, they were such a minor thing even in tabletop. It's pretty insane to even have a faction of them in a game. No, they're cool, though. Don't get me wrong. They're very cool. Like, Wulfric is awesome. He travels... Wulfric's whole lore is really badass. He's the eternal, like, challenger, whatever his title was. He travels the old world. He's got the gift of tongues. He can speak to people in their own fucking language and then duel them and murder them and then claim their skull. Like, his lore is cool. It is cool. Throg's lore is cool, too. And he's got the crown. Bro can speak the languages, yeah. Or he had, like, the gift of something. I forgot. Yeah, that's cool. Imagine shit-talking a dwarf in Kazalid, like, instantly in the book. You're speaking Kazalid as someone who's chaos, that's instantly a grudge. And you're going to say anything about me that's negative, that's in the book. Yeah. Did he just speak my own language? I will kill your entire bloodline. Yeah, he did. And his rule was pretty cool. I remember in tabletop, he'd come in from, like, a different board edge, kind of like he was arriving in his longboat. And he'd always be accompanied by marauders, which suck. But he told him he'd seen goblins with better beards. Yeah, if that doesn't cause your whole entire race to be damned, I don't know what does. I mean, that lore was, like, kind of... It was never gone. It was just never appreciated as, like, enough. Right? Because when fantasy died, so did people finding out about fantasy, right? Like, the only way people realized, here's Warhammer Fantasy, was Total War. Who's going to go back and think, like, man, remember that fantasy game? Like, that was cool. And, you know, they might do a little bit of research, but for the most part, it's not really in the mainstream. It wasn't presented to the masses to the point where people would still care about it, right? When it was out and about for God knows how long, you know, people took interest, and then when it went away, it's because people weren't taking interest. So, a big refresh, and here we are, and now it's, I hope, as successful as they had planned. Yeah, that's what it was. That's so, like, heinous, dude. That's heinous. That's not a good thing to say. Don't say that again. I'm going to get triggered. I'm going to get mad. I have seen a finer beard on a troll's back. Okay, you're, like, fucking furious. You are frothing at the mouth, trying to kill this guy. Stunted whelp. He's the ultimate... I mean, yeah, he was. If you can speak every language perfectly, like, not to mention you're all about kind of challenging individuals, like, You talk about really pissing people off to come fight you, that's the best way to do it. Because Kazalid is really this, like, sacred language. You know, imagine some random guy you've never seen, never heard of. He comes up to you and he starts speaking to you in, like, one of the most secretive things that you've got. It's like, what? A short book is just a drunk Brit hooligan on a rampage? Is that really what it is? I do remember his book. I haven't read it, but, like, the front cover was him, and he was kind of, like, lurched forward or something. It's cool that they did that, you know? It kind of gets you to like the characters more, get more invested. Even if he was, like, a minor part of the army when he was around. There was even magic behind it to make it harder to refuse the... Yeah. I don't know, something like that. Some chaos shit. I haven't really read up on chaos in so long. The last time I did was when my buddy used to play it, because he played chaos. And I wasn't really a fan. Like, chaos is metal as hell, but for me, I prefer dwarves. Hey, food soon? 6 minutes. All right, in 6 minutes, guys, we got to go make food. Which I don't even know what we're going to eat. What do you want to eat? Sounds about right. I mean, most of the... well, he was just like a marauder, right? He was like a chieftain or something. Because all the people who worship chaos aren't necessarily imbued with their power. They're just more of, like, hoping. You know? They follow the dark gods because they want something. Not all of them. But aren't the Norscan people still kind of, like, worshipping a chaos god? Variety's not on this channel, no, it's on the other one. For the horror games, it's not here. Is there really Norscans that are opposed to it? They're just, like, what? Tribal empire men? Not even, like, tribesmen, but just people who live up in Norska? I mean, that kind of sounds like, I mean, I guess there's so many different types of things going on in the old world to where if you think of Marauders, you do think of chaos, but maybe not. The Crow, the Hound, I don't know, man. I haven't done my chaos lore. I've seen that game. Maybe. They worship chaos without even realizing it. Oh, they worship, like, different... They just... It's like a... it's a ruse. There are no good Norskins. Okay, so forget that. They're not Empire men up north. There are good dwarves up north, though. The Norse dwarves. Yeah, they're all dead now, but, you know. At least in this setting, they're not, come to think of it. And they still live up there isolated, I believe. Well, that's really how, like... Isn't that kind of how chaos gets to you? It's that who is listening but chaos? If you don't hear the voice, oh, Sigmar, protect me and my son. My son's playing League of Legends. Sigmar, please. And it's like, I'm not answering. And then chaos is like, oh, yes. Your son will no longer play League of Legends. You just have to murder him. It's like, what? Okay. I will grant you 50 V-Bucks for this. It's like, okay. That's horrible. That's what Korn would say. I mean, it's chaos always finds a way. They want something. It is cool, though. I think when it comes to demons and like the chaos gods, I always found it interesting that they're in all the settings. They're the only thing that is in all three: fantasy, Age of Sigmar, 40k. They span all of them just because they're timeless, right? It's like they've always been there. There will always be that evil in the world, you know, lingering. All the units are the same too. I think that's maybe at one point why people talked about, you know, were the demons, was any of this connected? Like, oh, 40k fantasy. Oh, is 40k just the futuristic fantasy? So on and so forth. He just wanted to save the world by turning it undead. I don't think that's very good. I don't think you're doing anyone a favor. It's the, yeah. I mean, even 40k has juggernauts. 40k's got juggernauts. Like, for God's sake, I don't know if you've seen some of the weirdest shit in fantasy was always the soul grinders. I don't know if they're still here in Age of Sigmar now, but where's Age of Sigmar? Chaos. Demons. Are the soul grinders gone? Are they anywhere? Juggernaut. Oh my god, they still sell the soul grinder. This shit was in fantasy, I believe. Like, versions of it. And it's like, how the hell does this even happen? How does demon fuse with machine and just come out of, like, the warp? Where does it come from? Part of the base demons of Chaos list in fantasy and 40k. Yeah, exactly. Well, Chaos Dwarves are a thing, but these are like don't the Chaos Dwarves create and then fuse with demons? This is just a demon. Where does this thing come from? Like, the Chaos Dwarves did not make this, right? Clanking monstrous war machines or war engines crafted from unwise demons who struck a bargain with the Forge of Souls. Oh, there's a place in the warp called the Forge of Souls. Well, see, you learn something new every day. I didn't know that. These damned hulks must repay a steep debt of harvested souls to be freed from their machine shell, and scuttle forth to reap the mortal victims with cannons, claws, and blades of arcane metal and twisted flesh. It's cool. It's very bizarre, but it's cool. The Old Marauders. Those are a sight for sure. They got those Cadian muscles. They got the, like, this guy's, I mean, they're cool. Yeah, they're cool. I like them. They're old, but they got charm. They got flavor. Forge of Souls main location in Total War 3 campaign. I will never play a demon campaign, so that's probably why. Vashtor's the guy who writes the deals for those demons. Well, then it really begs the question, what about fantasy? Vashtor in fantasy? In a different, like, look? What's your opinion on Chaos Dwarves? They're not for me. I mean, all of the lore for Warhammer is cool, but I don't like them. Location is key to finish any campaign. Oh, it's just a universal thing? I mean, to be honest, this looks a little bit far gone from the Soul Grinder, but not really. Like, could you see this in fantasy? You could, like, if you squint your eyes a little bit, probably. The gods in fantasy are technically weaker than in 40k, yet are the same. Less worshippers? I don't know. Less things to believe in. Vashtor's face is pretty, pretty funky. Vashtor is the Soul Forge King, a demonic demigod of unrestrained invention and abominable artifice. Urson, yeah, the big bear. Yeah. I think I've seen a cinematic about that. Where they, like, if you choose chaos, they corrupt them or something. It looks a little bit Iron Warriors, yeah. I mean, it looks chaos, right? I remember when this guy was shown, people were suspecting, like, Dark Mechanicum or something, but it just wasn't the case. They're in a different universe at the same time. They don't have much resource to use, only one. Oh. Well, either way, demons are cool, and it's a very interesting concept that, like, if there is one thing that's a constant in the Warhammer universes, it's the evil. The evil is always there, and it's always the same. But, like, you know, the good guys rise up, and we're the Space Marines, or we're the dwarves in the Empire, and, you know, we were created by frogmen, aliens. It's cool, though. Anyways, I went over time. I need to leave. So with that being said, I'm out of here, folks. Be well, stay safe. Largely implied in the end times, I think, that Keldor Drago managed to show up. Yeah, that was... They retconned that, I think. At least that's what I heard. I don't think they should ever be connected that way, but, like, I do like the idea of the evil, again, kind of just being a thing. But I do have to go. So with that being said, I will see you all later. Everyone take care of yourselves, be well, stay safe. I will catch you in about an hour's time or so when I'm done eating. Maybe on this channel, maybe on the other channel. I'll see just what I want to log in on. And yeah, with that being said, take care, stay safe, and I'll see you later. Peace, everyone. Peace. Be well, folks. Take